I know this is a busy time for you with the two conventions having gone by and then the other things that's been happening. So I deeply appreciate you doing this for us.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is something I'm going to post on my YouTube channel. Of course, Dr. Simon's going to be posted on his weekly radio program as well.
Okay.
His
meet you in person. I haven't seen you before.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you know, it's so odd. You know, I've read several of your books, so it seems like, you know, I've known you for a while.
You know me, yeah, but then that's wonderful.
But
well, work there, I tell you. We got a whole generation to teach.
Oh, I mean, you know, I don't know if you know what I do for a living. I run a nonprofit organization, and I've been past 10 years been teaching young people chess, organizing chess tournaments, teams, after school programs, and everything.
Oh no! Oh, I thought you were a pastor.
Oh no.
Oh wow! And you teach chess?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. No, I couldn't be no pastor, sis. The Lord has said, "Boy, you better get out of that pulpit."
Well, that's a great thing you're doing to teach young people how to play chess. It's such a strategic opportunity. I don't even call it a game.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, and it really gives me one thing I see a lot of is the failings of the public school system, and even of colleges and universities. You know, the lack of logic.
Yeah.
They'll say
they can't even figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really odd, and it seems a lot of the thinking is so emotional based. You know, oh, you said this, I disagree with you, you're an idiot, you're a bad person.
Oh, we had them, and we had a couple of working here, and it's like, you disrespected me. It's like, who made this little statement up? That all things about disrespecting. Every time something doesn't go your way, you disrespecting me. It's like, no, actually, I'm trying to teach you.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, that's incredible. Do you know Rex Sinkfeld's chess tournament space in St. Louis? Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't been there, but before this pandemic hit, we were planning on going, sis.
Oh, you've got to go. I didn't even know it was there. I was just in St. Louis one year and ran across it. And when I did, they were having a tournament, like that national tournament. So some of the great, it's got to be 5 or 6 years, so I'm not going to remember who won. I bought the shirt, but it was, of course, a Japanese name, because they always win, seemed like. And it is incredible. It was incredible. And I walked right, and $10, I was able to go in and watch the live. It was great.
It's something when you know a little something about the sport.
Yeah.
You know a few names.
Yeah.
You meet up with them. It's quite an experience.
I didn't know the names, and I didn't know that tournament world, even though I know chess, and I've had chess in and out of my life forever, and I keep a chess set, but I don't tend to play too much. Play you, because it sounds like you know how. But that's incredible that you're teaching young people to do that. And so you have a whole ministry built around that?
It's a nonprofit organization, Kentucky Chess Ambassadors.
Wait, what's it called?
Kentucky Chess Ambassadors.
Huh.
And that's something that, actually, that's relatively new. I've been teaching chess since August of 2010, past 10 years. And so I had different programs. And then it got to the point where I'm trying to be very diplomatic in what I'm about to say. I approached a local civil rights group and said, hey, you guys ought to start a chess program and a chess program.
Right. Forget it.
So they adopted the idea. And we did quite well. And then after the first year, they had some staff change, so they sort of let me go. I didn't let the program go. I continued with the young people. We just met at a different location. I kept receiving funding and all. And then, again, we just kept doing better, gaining in popularity.
Wow.
They asked us to come back, and I did, and we kept on doing well. We did so well where at one regional tournament, we were the largest contingent from the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Wow.
We won a first place trophy in one of our sections. So the governor at the time was Matt Bevin. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I know Matt Bevin.
Okay, sure. Matt Bevin. So I told Brother Bevin about what was going on, what had happened. And of course, he's a solid Kentuckian. He's more Kentuckian than Daniel Boone. I want to heap some praise on these young people for what they did, you know, for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you know. He came and actually met with some of my chess athletes. Bear this in mind now, he's the governor.
Right.
He stayed with my students for 45 minutes.
Wow.
I was hoping and praying for 15 photos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, he stayed for 45.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sis, at one point, you know, the parents were like, well, we'd like to take pictures with the governor. So I had to go tap him on the shoulder while he's playing one of my students. Said, Governor, you know, we'd like to take some photos. He just looked up and said, okay, and went back to playing. He kept interacting with the students, kept asking them questions like, we'll do photos later, man.
Wow.
I want to deal with these students. 45 minutes, sis. The media jumped on him, criticized him for a 5-second statement, literally. And it went gangbusters all throughout the media.
5 seconds from this experience, from this particular?
Yes. As he was walking into the building, he said, hey, folks, come join me. I'm going to sort of introduce you to something that, you know, it may not be that well, that common in this part of town, referring to West Louisville. That's the Black community in Louisville. May not be that common. And so he said, he didn't say Black people are stupid. He didn't say Black people can't play chess. He didn't say Black people weren't interested in chess. He was just making a comment that, hey, you know, this isn't something you see quite often.
You find here, and it's true. That's what makes it worse. It's true.
And sis, you would have thought that man said, hey, let's go out here and dig up every grave we can find. I mean, you thought that man said, let's go beat up old ladies for the Social Security check.
Yeah, we're in a war. Yeah.
It was utterly amazing.
They were looking to catch him. They didn't like him there.
Oh, they really.
I'm surprised the civil rights group let you still do it, because they.
But, yeah, but you know, I had to resign eventually.
Yeah, I bet.
They sort of let me go after the COVID thing.
Oh, that's when it was. Well, I hope you can. You know, I hope it gets pulled back together. Do you know Duncan Taylor at all?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, you need to know him. He owns that California Chrome, the horse that won the Kentucky Derby about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's huge presence there in your state, and he probably would be interested in what you're doing.
Oh, that'd be great.
Him. Mm-hmm.
Well, sis, enough about me. This is not about me. This is about you.
Yeah, but still, he's a wonderful person. I'm glad you told me all about that, because I like to connect people, especially with a nonprofit like that. He loves God, and he loves helping people that are helping others in this kind of capacity. So, and he's very generous.
Oh,
so
well, you know, please feel free to connect us with him and.
I probably won't remember. You'll have to contact when we finish the interview. You can contact Stephanie to remind me to get you his information, and then we'll just contact him and say that, you know, I referred, and you might want to go up there and see them and see what they're doing, and then tell them what you're doing.
Okay, I'll do that, and I appreciate that. So yeah, let's go right into the interview here. I'm on your newsletter, and I'm reading about this billboard you're looking to put up. You know, are you tired of poverty? And I'm looking at these 5 statements, and I'm saying to myself, okay, makes sense. You know, common sense, nothing deep here. You know, you don't have to be an economist to grasp these ideas. And then the next thing I know, I'm hearing from your organization that someone vandalized the billboard. Now, that didn't necessarily surprise me, but what did surprise me is how Clear Channel responded. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, the vandalization was Clear Channel. They ripped the boards down because Black Lives Matters Milwaukee went after them. Urban Cure, we wanted to speak into all of the distress that we've been seeing over this summer in our hard-hit neighborhoods. We wanted to talk to that 12-year-old. We wanted to talk to that 14-year-old that really is trying to figure out their lives. They might have gotten involved in a little bit of looting, but most of them did not. They're just broken in themselves, their family is broken, their community is broken, their schools are broken, and we wanted to talk to them. We wanted to talk to them about the success sequence. This is scientific. This is moral. This is home truth that they may not know. So we decided to put them up in billboards, because billboards are the most effective way to reach into our most hard-hit and distressed neighborhoods. They don't have internet oftentimes. They don't have cable oftentimes or access. They really are in dire situations. So we talked to them through billboards. So we put up some billboards, and we said Clear Channel Outdoor, help us design these billboards to put them up in a couple of different markets. We had 20 markets that we wanted to put them up in, so we started in 3 markets. We started in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We started in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, and we started in Philadelphia. And the billboard is simple. It's just truth. It's, are you tired of poverty? Well, then finish school, take any job, get married, save and invest, give to your community after this is done. Give back to your neighborhood. We have on our website /success. If they went there, they would find 5 books to help them through these different steps. If they went to the other side of the billboard, it had Proverbs 10:4, which simply tells them if you don't use your hands, you're going to be poor. But if you get up and you work, you will be okay. So that was the billboard. We were in agreement with Clear Channel. No, it was Black Lives Matters Milwaukee that said that they were racist, they were sexist, they were offensive, and all of these other things. And they demanded, Clear Channel, you take them down or we'll take them down. And they threatened them with intimidation. They put their website, they put their phone numbers on the web.
Oh, Lord.
Really bad. And so Clear Channel finally went and then they pulled them down and they threw them down. You're absolutely right, which I didn't like. But there is a law that you cannot interject yourself into someone else's contract. So we are in the process right now of hiring an attorney so that we can go after BLM Milwaukee, because they interjected themselves in not just 1 contract, but 3 contracts that we had as an organization, Urban Cure, with Clear Channel Outdoor.
So again, you had this arrangement, you had this understanding with Clear Channel. This is something that you very openly and clearly negotiated with Clear Channel. We want these billboards. This is what we're going to put on the billboards. You didn't hide that.
They didn't have to hide it. They made it so that it would fit. We picked the picture, of course. We knew the success sequence, but they put it together, and then they were up on the air. They were on the air they were up in the neighborhoods in 3 different communities across the country. And yeah, and so the Milwaukee one, the Black Lives Matter, were offended. And I think it was because the Democrat convention was being held one of the weeks that the billboards were up there. So it might even be bigger than Black Lives Matters Milwaukee, why they wanted to demand the billboards to come down. But they took them down, and it was caught on film. And then the thread of their conversation with Clear Channel is in our possession to show that they then demanded that they were taken down everywhere that Clear Channel had them up. And Clear Channel bowed to that pressure and took them down.
And part of what BLM did, or what you suspect, is that they threatened Clear Channel. Is that correct?
If you read these threads, you would have taken them down too. BLM is a terrorist organization. They are not nice. And it was, in fact, that's where I started inquiring about when these laws were put into place that we now have that we can probably use against them. And it was during time of the KKK and during time of mafia.
Oh, wow.
The tactics of the BLM movement, they are exactly of the KKK. They threaten your property.
Wow.
Intimidate you into complicity, into compliance with whatever it is they want. And then after the billboard company took them down, then they even sent a message to them and said, yeah, for us to control messaging and narrative is priceless. So that means that any and everything that you want to run in our community, you better run it through us first, Mr. Clear Channel, or we will destroy you. It's incredible, the power that this organization is yielding now over corporations and over individuals.
What do you think? I mean, I know this is just be pure speculation on your part, but other than just the fear, I mean, I can understand if someone's threatening me, that's going to create some fear and concern on my part. But also, if you've ever done a little study on oppressive societies, you realize that at one point you just have to stand up to it. You just can't comply. You have to stand up to it. Why do you think that Clear Channel just didn't have the backbone to say, look, no, we're not gonna concede?
I think no one wants to die. And I think that corporations are making decisions that they don't go out of business. It's really interesting, the question, because there's a lot of risk involved in saying no. I do understand that. I understand why a Bank of America would say, here, just take $1 billion and go away. Because they know over time it'll cost them $50 billion if they say no. because now they go and get their reputation back. They have to build structures in communities that they know is not going to yield a return for them. So when you look at Clear Channel Outdoors, they have billboards in communities. This is what they do. This is their business. And if Black Lives Matters movement got its way and the Clear Channel said no, they would demand those boards down. They would boycott them. We've seen these shakedown tactics before. We've seen Jackson for a generation now. We've seen it with Al Sharpton picking up that baton, and companies then count the costs and say, just pay them off. The challenge that those companies have today is that BLM has taken it to a whole new level, and TIFA has taken it to a whole new level, because now it's threatening them that we will cancel you out of existence. You will die as a company if you don't do what we say. So that's the tension. That's the new movement. But I can appreciate that you can only take so much threats, and if there's not an alternative, this is the reason that we at Urban Cure do what we do. If you do not build an alternative organization to make theirs obsolete, the corporations really have nowhere else to go. They're going to have to say, I've got to be in business, and if I'm going to be in business and this terrorist organization is demanding that I pay OLA, kind of like the mafia strategy, then I'm going to pay.
Yeah. You know, locally, I'm not sure if you know about it or not, but locally, BLM went after a Mexican restaurant on East Market. And actually what they're doing is this particular area called Nulu, they were going to the different businesses and saying, look, we want you guys to sign an agreement that you will do X, Y, and Z, things of that nature. And this one Mexican restaurant said, well, no, this is extortion.
we don't do my. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We came from a country like that, and we don't want to do it here. That's why we're in America.
and you know, sis, that's basically what they said. I mean, that's just bottom line what they said. And what got me, though, was one so-called local civil rights leader. You know, they were like, oh, well, it appears that these people seem to have a concern about socialism.
Right.
He said, did you
know
what the sacrifices these people did to leave that situation to come here?
Right. They want
and they many in the Mexican in the Cuban community came out.
Good.
They came out and
that's real communism. Good for them. Because I tell you, this is what has to happen. You're right. We have to push back. Mm-hmm. The bigger corporations are not going to do that. But that middle corporation and that small business owner, he's starting to fight back, because the alternative for them is worse. The alternative for the big corporation is, boy, we got it. You know, when we're talking about $1 billion versus 50 billion losses, let's just lose $1 billion. But a small mom and pop, they lose everything. So there's no real other option but to fight back. And so I'm glad to hear that they're fighting back, especially if they're of Cuban descent. They recognize and understand communism, and they know that it doesn't take long for it to root and take over, and the next thing you know, the whole country is in turmoil. Look how quickly Venezuela collapsed. Look how quickly Nigeria collapsed. We're talking entire countries that within the last 20 years were very, very prosperous and did very, very well. So I'm glad to hear that there's energy that are pushing back and fighting back. And I hope actually the people in the great state of Kentucky fight back against this whole spirit that is trying to force for police officers not to get due process, or they're going to burn Louisville down. This is crazy shakedown stuff. Showing up at Attorney General's home. There is something really wrong with an organization that will force this kind of situation on Americans. And then there's something even more wrong if the people of Kentucky don't stand up and say, you've got to be kidding. We don't live under the rules of terrorism.
Well, yes, ma'am. And I think there are more and more people on the grassroots level who are doing exactly what you're hoping they're doing. I just caught wind of, I knew of a petition that was being circulated asking for the mayor of Louisville to step down, Greg Fisher. And then now the petition is going to be, sometime this week, I think the petition is actually going to be presented to him. The Republican caucus in the Louisville's Metro Council, they all got together and unanimously said, look, we have no confidence in the mayor over what you basically just said, public safety, sis. Public safety.
That's right.
No one has any problem whatsoever over peaceful demonstration. None.
Well, I do when it's COVID time. No, you know what? Actually, if you could, I look at it like this. They suspended all of our First Amendment rights when COVID first showed up. So a month of that, if you are offended by the death of George Floyd, you needed to do what others have to do. Take that pain internally and distribute it within your home. This belongs to you. This was not to come into the streets. No, we cannot have protests in the street at the same time you're saying people can't even go to church. I don't buy that philosophy. There's something wrong with us to continue to say that we have a freedom to go and express ourselves, and yet we can't go to church and express ourselves. So no, you don't have a right during COVID to go out in the streets. I guess COVID's okay if you're protesting. So everybody is in a protest now. So we get to go back to our favorite restaurants. While you're suing people for trying to stay alive because they're doing someone's hair that they've been doing for 20 years, but yet we keep saying that it's okay to go into the street and terrorize people and loot people and destroy personal property. I don't buy it. No. And we're not in the 50s. Let me just say one more thing. We're not in the 50s. This is not, everyone was appalled by what we saw with George Floyd. So justice would be served. We have to have confidence that we're in 2020, not in 1920. And for us to think that they're doing something against police brutality to go to the streets and destroy this country, we all know that there's something more deeply going on, and we better stand up to it because it will destroy this country.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I speak to some local black liberals here and there, and they'll say to me things like, well, you know, Black Lives Matter, we don't like that effort to discredit them. I said, brother, are you not hearing what they themselves are saying about themselves?
They need to be discredited. You need to go to their website. And if you buy that philosophy as an African American, then you need to live in that kind of world. But you're not going to do it in America. Go to a country that has ascribed to Cuba. They seem to like those countries anyway. Look at all these big old sports guys. They go spend a lot of time in communist China or in communist North Korea. But they always seem to come back to America and then complain about the freedom here. You get to complain here. You get to grow here. You get to be poor here if you want to. You get to be a bum here if you want to. But don't you dare try to bring that communism here, because we are going to fight it. This is not a country that can adopt a communism. It's cruel to the poor. And of all people that should be fighting that communistic spirit, it's Black people. We know it's like through our heritage to live under the thumb of somebody else outside of freedom. We cannot have that for our next generation. I will not have it for my grandchildren.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we only got a few minutes left. I also wish that you talk a little bit about cancel culture. Actually, you just did, but I noticed in one of your roundtable discussions, you had almost the whole discussion was around cancel culture. So could you define that and express to us, you know, what your concern is about cancel culture?
Yeah, in fact, you're talking about my new weekly television show. I have a show now weekly, and we have discussions about these pressing headline issues. And we did a show on this cancel culture. People actually think that they can tell someone that they have no existence, almost that they're not human. We have been here before. You are not worthy of being in the public square because of something you said, something you did. It's years old, something we don't agree with. This is harsh. This is cruel. And so now they're Xing you out. They're doxing you. They're canceling you. They're making you not be able to maintain your business or have your family sustained through your employment. That has to stop, and has to stop now. And I think that the Attorney General is looking into the funding of these things so that we can put an end to it as a country. It has to stop. Right now, somebody else, whoever they think they are, can tell you that you're not a unique person created in the image of God with freedom of expression and being. This is unheard of in our country. But it's right. It's our reality, and we better take this moment, because right now this next election is about the heart and soul of this country, and we're going to be biblical and free, or we're going to be secular and status. And we see what secular and status means. Status. Government controls everything, will take everything that you have and redistribute it if they want to whom they want to. And secular, we see what's going on. You have now a man who's become a woman writing books called In Defense of Looting.
Yes.
Secularism.
Yeah. And I'm amazed that he's just so open about it. I mean, it's not like this.
I think she's a she now, and a he. Open because they're allowed to. And if we don't take this culture back in the public square, it will be Christians that live the persecuted church underground.
I'm speaking to my listeners now, folks. This is Star Parker. She's the executive director of urbancure.org. Please go to that website. Please sign up for her newsletter. Make a donation. Please make a donation, and then listen to her weekly. Well, I don't know if it's weekly, but her television broadcast. It is very informative, folks. Every time I pick up something, every time I watch it, I learn something new, and I go do some additional research. This is very powerful stuff. And she talked about earlier, her sister talked about alternative. Folks, I don't know where a lot of people getting their information, but I mean, it must be coming from BLM broadcast or something. You need to be checking this sister out. Whatever she's saying, whatever she's writing, you need to be checking it out. And if you're a pastor, please go to urbancure.org and ask some questions, make some inquiries, see what resources she has available. Sister Parker, I really want to thank you again for being with us.
You're welcome.
Hope we can do this again.
I'm sure we will.
And I don't have to tell you to keep on fighting.
I'm a fight. Fighting for freedom. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you, ma'am.